If you're watching this, it's probably because you're a tinnitus sufferer like I am. I've had tinnitus for about 10 years. I went to an audiologist, checked me out, asked him what he could do for me, and he said nothing. He said, "You got tinnitus, so do I live with it." Well, that was about 10 years ago, and it certainly hasn't got any better. So I was pretty excited when my son told me about an article he read in the New York Times around December 28th about a new music therapy to treat tinnitus that was developed by some scientists at Münster University in Germany. So anyway, after reading this article, I went to the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences and paid the $10 and downloaded the article about tinnitus done by Akamoto and Stoll and Christo Pantev. And it's apparent after reading that article that what they had done, it was tailor-made music therapy for the subjects, and that they'd all experienced profound improvement in the level of the volume of the tinnitus after listening to notched music. So, after Googling Pantev, I found that what they were doing was using Cool Edit, and I've got that on my PC, so I thought I would try and recreate the technique. And what they basically do is they take a piece of music and Cool Edit and notch the one octave centered on the frequency of your tinnitus. In order to find out the frequency of your tinnitus, you should go to an audiologist, or you could just do what I did, download Tinnitus Tamer from vavsoft.com, and then fool around with a slider, a high frequency slider, until you match the frequency of your tinnitus. Do it over a period of a few days and check that you've got it right, because it's a bit tricky at first. You really have to be careful that you get the right octave. You might get the right note, but it might be double the frequency that you think it is. Anyway, mine turned out to be about 7,900 cycles per second. I open up Cool Edit, open up a song on my in my music file. Now, if I play this for you, you can see at the bottom, in this bottom window, that waveband is full from 0 all the way up to 20,000 cycles per second. What I want to do, because my tinnitus, which I found from fooling around with Tinnitus Tamer, my tinnitus frequency is centered around 7,900. So if I take that number and divide it by 1.41, that'll be the bottom of the octave I want to remove. That's what Pantev and Akamoto did, and they removed an octave centered on the tinnitus. So if you divide your tinnitus frequency by 1.41 and then multiply that number that you get by 2, you'll get the high and low that you want for the borders of the octave you want to remove using Cool Edit. So to do that, you go into Effects, Filters, Scientific Filters, and you'll get this window here, this little applet. Now we're going to select Butterworth, and you can see here there's a place to put the cutoff. In my case, it's 5,588 hertz. Just type that in there. If it's blank when you open it up, you just type in the number. And then you select the high cutoff, and you type in the high number you got by multiplying the low number by 2. In my case, it's 11,176. Now you want to make at least a 100 dB band stop in that octave. So if you put that order above 12, in case I'm putting it in at 20, that'll give you at least 175 dB notch in the middle of that octave. So that's fine. So, and then you say OK, and that'll process that song, that piece of music. When 100 dB one octave notch taken right out of it between 5,588 cycles and 11,176 cycles. But that depends on what frequency you set in that cutoff and high cutoff. So if your frequency is 12,000 or 8,000, whatever, you just take that number, divide it by 1.41, and that's your low cutoff, and then double that number for your high cutoff. Remove that from your song. So there you go. Now you can see that notch that's been removed. If I play it back now, still sounds musical, but that one octave there has absolutely no energy. So I've removed a whole octave from that selection of music. I'm going to add that to my file by going save copy as, put it in my notch songs. I have a folder that I've made. I've got about an hour and a half of that stuff. I'll put it into an MP3 player and listen to it every day. And in a year I should notice a reduced volume in my tinnitus. Anyway, I hope that helps.